again, everybody, and welcome back to SFF180. Thomas here, your host as always. It is Monday, August the 26th, and time once again for the mailbag. And it's been a while since I have uploaded, but as all of you know, I'm sure, I spent about the last week, 8 days, 9 days, in Ireland, in Dublin for Worldcon. Very exciting time. Had a wonderful experience meeting all my fellow BookTube SFF friends. There is a vlog for that, currently in post-production, editing, and all of that. It's coming very soon. But I want to say that I'm very sorry this morning's mailbag is up a little bit later in the day than I usually get the mailbag up. I usually like to have the mailbag up by 7 o'clock in the morning. It's happening a little bit later, and that's because I am not feeling 100% lately. I spent most of yesterday, I don't know if it's a cold coming on or what. Feels a lot like that. Like yesterday, I was stretching. I did one of these, and then I was like, oh, it feels like, you know, muscles are a little tender, a little sore, and I'm like, oh no, I hope that this is not a thing coming on. And I have had something of a raspy cough, and so, yeah, I'm taking Dayquil and vitamin C and drinking orange juice and trying to stave whatever this is off. But yesterday, I spent something like off and on, probably about 14 hours sleeping. Just I was up, then I was down, then I was up again and down, and then I was always like, man, I got to record, and then I'm like, so. But anyway, here we are with the mailbag. As you might suspect, after the trip, it is quite a big one. Whatever it is, though, that's going on with me, I've got to get rid of it by next weekend. Not next weekend, but the weekend after, because that is BookNet Fest in Ontario. You see what's happening to me? You see, I'm just falling apart completely. Oh, God. I'm really worried about this, because I've just been reading Chuck Wendig's Wanderers, which is about a plague that feels like a cold coming on. It causes you to have memory problems. And so, yikes. All right, that's a bit worrying. Okay, I won't think too much on that. We're just going to go ahead and get directly into the books, shall we? Okay, so the first of these is a big old box. This comes from Random Penguin, and I suspect that this is going to be a lot of these September trade paperbacks and hardcovers from the Penguin imprints like Ace and Dawn and all that. So let's see. It is indeed. It is all that stuff, and we start off with this lovely looking book. This is a new book by Juliette Marillier, and it's called The Harp of Kings. And apparently it is the first book in something called The Warrior Bards. And so I know quite a few of you are fans of this lady's work. So let's just go ahead and read up what... Is there so? No, there's not. Okay. Goes like this. Bard Warrior Rebel. 18-year-old Lioban is a powerful singer and an expert whistle player. Someone has to be. Her brother has a voice to melt the hardest heart and is a rare talent on the harp. But Lioban's burning ambition is to join the elite warrior band on Swan Island. She and her brother train there to compete for places on the force and find themselves joining a mission while still candidates. Their unusual blend of skills makes them ideal for this particular job, which requires going undercover as traveling minstrels. For Swan Island trains both warriors and spies. Their mission to find and retrieve a precious harp, an ancient symbol of kingship which has gone missing. If the instrument is not played at the upcoming coronation, the heir will not be accepted, and the kingdom will be thrown into disarray. Faced with plotting courtiers and tight-lipped druids, an insightful storyteller, and a boorish crown prince, Lioban soon realizes an otherworld power may be meddling in the affairs of the kingdom. When ambition clashes with conscience, Lioban must make a bold decision, and the consequences may break her heart. So there you are. The Harp of Kings, an Ace trade paperback in September. And next up, this one is very exciting. This comes out from Berkeley in September. And this is the very first novel by Sarah Pinsker, who has, been recognized at the award time for her very short fiction, like And Then There Were N-1, and also Wind Will Rove, which I think won the Hugo and Nebula. And so this is her very first book, and it appears to be a book that ties into her experience as a musician. So let's see what this one is all about. It says it's a captivating... Oh, well, it's called A Song for a New Day. Get with it, Thomas. All right, that's the title. And it's about... in the before, when the government didn't prohibit large public gatherings, loose cannon, that's cute, was on the top of the world, One of her songs had just taken off, and she was on her way to becoming a star. Now, in the after, terror attacks and deadly viruses have led the government to ban concerts. And Luce's connection to the world, her music, her purpose, is closed off forever. So she performs in illegal concerts to a small but passionate community, always evading the law. Rosemary Laws barely remembers the before times. She spends her days in hood space, helping customers order all of their goods online for drone delivery. No physical contact with humans needed. Then she finds a new job and a new calling, discover amazing musicians, and bring their concerts to everyone via virtual reality. The only catch is she'll have to do something she's never done before and go out in public. Find the illegal concerts and bring musicians into the limelight they deserve. But when she sees how the world could actually be, that won't be enough. Okay, interesting. Kind of dystopian sounding, but also sounds like it has that hope punk thing that's going on now, you know. Light in the darkness kind of a theme, right? But A Song for a New Day by Sarah Pinsker, her debut novel in September. Next up, this is a new book by Edward Willett. This is the second volume in a series called World Shapers. I was sent the first one, which was called World Shaper, some time ago. Shauna Keyes has fled the world she only recently discovered she shaped, narrowly escaping death at the hands of the adversary who seized control of it, and losing her only guide, Karl Yatzar, in the process. The idea is that this character discovers that it's sort of like the Lathe of Heaven. You know, she does something, either goes into a hallucinatory trance state or sleeps or has some kind of, experience that's traumatic. And when she comes out of that and wakes up, she realizes that what she experienced in her mind has completely changed the world around her. So like people that she thought she knew all her life just never existed, and there are new people and events have occurred that are different, things like that. Now she finds herself alone in some other Shaper's world. In her first 2 hours, she's rescued from a disintegrating island by an improbable flying machine she recognizes from Jules Verne's Robur the Conqueror, then seized from it by raiders flying tiny personal helicopters, and finally taken to a submarine that bears a strong resemblance to Captain Nemo's Nautilus. Oh, and she's accused of being both a spy and a witch. Shauna expects, or hopes, that Karl Yatzar will eventually follow her into this new steampunky realm. But exactly where and when he'll show up, she hasn't a clue. In the meantime, she has to navigate a world where two factions fanatically devoted to their respective leaders are locked in perpetual combat. Figure out who the shaper of the world is, find him or her, and obtain the secret knowledge of this world's shaping. Then she has to somehow reconnect with Karl Yatzar, and escape to the next shaped world in the labyrinth through a portal she has no idea how to open. Okay, so this one seems like it really amps up the adventure, but Master of the World, the sequel to World Shaper by Edward Willett, is out in September from Doll Books. And next in the box we have Sword and Pen, and this, I believe, is the fifth and final volume in Rachel Kane's young adult series, The Great Library. And so if you've been reading this, I don't know what I can say about it, but it is, of course, an epic fantasy novel that deals with a great library, right? So you can't go wrong there. But this is the fifth and I think final one, Sword and Pen, and it's available in hardcover in September. And then finally in this box, the absolutely tireless Seanan McGuire has delivered her 13th October Day novel. This is The Unkindest Tide. And you know this series, or you're already into it and you're already interested, or maybe not. But then again, it's never too late to start, right? If you like the urban fantasy thing, this is one of the longest running and most popular of those. So The Unkindest Tide, the 13th October Day novel, in hardcover from Doll Books in September. Okay, so that was that big box. Now I'm going to move on to individual envelopes. This looks to be one that has come from Macmillan. Well, this one looks kind of interesting. This is a new book by Nick Mamatas, coming out from Tor in November. It says it's fantasy, but it looks quite horror to me. It's called Sabbath. And let's see, the date, does it have a precise date on it? No, it just says, November. All right, then. Let's see what this is all about. The infamous 11th century warrior Hexen Sabbath is plucked from death and certain damnation by a being claiming to be an angel of the Lord, and finds himself dropped into contemporary Manhattan with no clothes, no weapons, no resources, and one mission: to track down and kill the living personifications of the 7 deadly sins before they bring about Armageddon. With time running out and his only ally a destitute art gallery owner, Sabbath must fight his way through New York's elite. Well, that's got to be fun. And challenge the world's most powerful men, or an eternity of suffering will be his and our only reward. Okay. Well, this seems kind of cute. Seems like a cross between some sort of gothic horror and The Terminator, right? But Sabbath will be available from Tor in November by Nick Mamatas. And this next one is from Random Penguin. Okay, finally I have one with a sell sheet. Thank you, guys. This is a YA from Random House Children's Books. It is called The Babysitter's Coven. The author is Kate Williams. It says it's a debut novel that winks at 90s cult horror films. Adventures in Babysitting meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer in The Babysitter's Coven by Kate Williams. Comes out September 17th. A funny, action-packed debut about a coven of witchy babysitters who realize they're calling to protect the innocent and save the world from an onslaught of evil. 17-year-old Esme Pearl has a babysitter's club. She knows it's kind of lame, but what else is she supposed to do? Get a job? Gross. And lately she needs all the cash she can get because it seems like destruction follows her wherever she goes. Let's just say she owes some people a new tree. Enter Cassandra Heaven. She's Instagram model hot, dresses like she found her clothes in a dumpster, and has a rebellious streak as gnarly as the cafeteria cooking. Okay, this is it's kind of try-hardy here, right, with the description, but that's okay. We'll go with it. So why is Cassandra willing to do anything? Even take on a potty-training 2-year-old to join Esme's Babysitter's Club? The answer lies in a mysterious note Cassandra's mother left her. Find the babysitters, love Mom. Turns out Esme and Cassandra have more in common than they think, and they're about to discover what being a babysitter really means. A heroic lineage of superpowers, magic rituals, and saving the innocent from seriously terrifying evil. And all before the parents get home. All right. Featuring a fresh new voice in YA, The Babysitter's Coven is a highly entertaining, witty, supernatural, light, girl power adventure that assigns the age-old teen occupation of babysitting a higher level of meaning. Because having someone around making sure your child doesn't die when you're gone isn't a high enough level of meaning, I guess. Anyway, it's a must-read for fans of The Babysitter's Club and Charmed. Okay, well then by that description you know if this is something that will tickle your fancy or not. But comes out September 17th, The Babysitter's Coven by Kate Williams. Do the kids still say gnarly in 2019? Is that still a word? I don't know. Anyway, another one from Random Penguin. This is Stars Beyond. This is the sequel to Stars Uncharted. And it is written by S.K. Dunstall, who are actually, that's a pen name for two sisters who write together. And as you see, it's a space opera, so could be suitable for next month, Space Opera September. Coming up, by the way. Comes out January the 21st. All right, so we're pushing ahead. The first novel in S.K. Dunstall's Stars Uncharted series, which was Stars Uncharted, now Dunstall is back with Stars Beyond, the thrilling second novel in the series. Stars Uncharted introduced readers to the ragtag crew of Another Road, an engineer with a fondness for weapons, captain with no memory, and an obsessive gene modder, body modification artist, that were looking to make the biggest score in the galaxy. And Stars Beyond, the crew is closer than ever to that score, as long as they're able to stay a step ahead of the Justice Department and the company men that are tracking them. And I think I'll stop right there so as to avoid spoilers, but this does sound like quite a lot of fun, kind of space opera that I enjoy. So Stars Beyond, the sequel to Stars Uncharted, will be available in January. I may go ahead and have to pick up Stars Uncharted for Space Opera September, perhaps. I may have to do that. Next up, we have another arc from Ace Books. This is for a book coming out November the 5th. The title is Unnatural Magic, and the author is C.M. Wagoner. No relation. Ace is thrilled to present C.M. Wagoner and her brilliant debut novel, Unnatural Magic, a standalone historical fantasy that's receiving wonderful early buzz and accolades for its smart social commentary, irresistible characters, and inventive plot and world building. Unnatural Magic stars two unforgettable heroines, a young woman determined to become a great wizard despite her station and gender, and a troll who never quite fit into her clan that become entangled in the mysterious murders of 4 trolls. Wagoner infuses a compelling romance into this vivid magical story, making it an excellent crossover for readers of that genre. Anna Gaboa can write the parameters of a spell faster than any of the young men in her village school. Despite her talents, she's denied a place at the nation's premier arcane academy. Undaunted, she sails for the city-state Hexos and becomes an apprentice to a great wizard. Sierra has left her clan, striking out on her own to find work in a human city. On her way, she stumbles upon the body of a half-dead human soldier in the snow. As she nurses him back to health, an unlikely bond forms between them, one that is tested when an unknown mage makes an attempt on Sierra's life. So, all right, and it sort of goes from there, I guess. So you have this girl trying to, excel in a world that denies her those opportunities, and then you also have a murder mystery, and then I guess there's friendship and love and all of that. All right then, Unnatural Magic, available from Ace on November the 5th. Let me know in the comments. Okay, moving on down the list, here is a big padded envelope full of several books from Macmillan. All right, so this package contains 3 books that are actually books that I think have already come out from Tor, and I now remember having an email exchange with the publicist saying, hey, I think these missed me. Can I get them? And they've sent them on. So the first of these is a book called Iron Gods, and it is the second book in a series called The Spin. The author is Andrew Bannister. The first book was called Creation Machine, and the final book, which, by the way, I think they have actually sent me the link to the e-arc for that one, is called Stone Clock. And this is a trilogy that I think has already come out in the UK, and we're just sort of getting caught up here in the States. But it is the kind of massive, mega epic scale, galaxy-spanning space opera that you might expect to get from somebody like Peter F. Hamilton, right? It says, someone has destroyed a planet that didn't exist. And halfway across the spin, something has gone horribly wrong with the sky. 10,000 years after the events of Creation Machine. Okay, I guess I won't be spoiling too much about that book then. The spin is in decline. I guess the spin is the galaxy in which all this takes place. A group of escapees from the Hive, a forced labor unit, have stolen the last of the Inside's ancient warships and awakened it from the enforced trance of several millennia. What the renegades are about to discover will shake the core of the spin. A grave warning about the future that has been concealed for 10,000 years. And it says, an ancient intellect awakens. What it remembers is terrifying. So I guess these guys are going to get a bit more than they bargained for. But Iron Gods, sequel to Stone Clock. No, Stone Clock comes next. Creation Machine. It's the first one. Yeah. Sick brain, guys. And next up is one that I'm very happy to see. This is a book called Stealing Worlds. It's by Carl Schroeder, an author that whose work I really, really like, and who is a science fiction author I wish kind of got a bit more buzz than he seems to do. But this one, let's see, it is about Sierra Nealon is on the run from her creditors, her past, and her father's murderers. She can't get a job, she can't get a place to live, she can't even walk down the street. The total surveillance society that is mid-21st century America means that every camera and every pair of VR glasses is her enemy. But Sierra might have a chance in the alternate reality of the games. People can disappear in the LARP game worlds into the alternate economy of Gwai-coin and blockchains. The people who build the games know how to manipulate the surveillance networks. She just needs an introduction and the skills to play. Turns out she has very valuable skills and some very surprising friends. Okay, so this is kind of latter-day post-cyberpunk, information economy science fiction. And Stealing Worlds, I guess available now in hardcover from Tor. And finally in this package we have Null Set. The author is S.L. Wang. And this is the sequel to a book from last year called Zero Sum Game. Let's see, this is a mind-melding sequel, Null Set. This came out July the 9th. So talk about running behind on some things. This book catches up with Kaz Russell. Math genius mercenary Kaz Russell has decided to fight crime. Trademark. After all, with her extraordinary mathematical ability, she can neuter bombs or outshoot an army. The recent outbreak of violence in the world cities is Kaz's fault. She's the one who crushed the organization of telepaths, keeping the world's worst offenders under control. But Kaz's own power also has a history, one she can't remember or control. One that's creeping into her mind and fracturing her sanity, just when she's gotten herself on the hit list of every crime lord on the West Coast. And in the crosshairs, her best, only sociopathic friend. Kaz won't be able to save the world. She might not even be able to save herself. Okay then. So, very high-tech SF thriller, available now in hardcover from Tor, Null Set. And next up we now have what looks to be a ton more Macmillan books, so I'm just going to go through the stack of white envelopes. Okay, well this is interesting. This is a book called Rage. It's by Cora Carmack, and it's a young adult novel. and is a sequel to a book from about a year or so ago called Roar. It's a Stormheart series. The novels follow Aurora Pavan, princess of a kingdom that depends on the talents of magically gifted stormlings to quell powerful tempest seasons. Aurora's kingdom is almost unrecognizable as the home she left behind. By day, she hides in her ruined city, keeping her identity a secret from even those closest to her. But at night, she disguises herself as the rebel Roar, using her knowledge of the palace to aid the rebellion. Rage season, months on months of unending vicious storms, is at its peak. And not a day passes without the skies raining destruction. Tensions are rising in the kingdom of Pavan, with politics as charged as the storms. It's clear that there's more than rage in the air. There's war. Okay, then. All right, so Roar is okay, that came out a couple of years ago, but Rage is a sequel, and it's coming out tomorrow in hardcover from Tor-Teen. And Rage appears to be quite the fashion these days. Here's this arc I got a couple of weeks ago from Jonathan Mayberry, so which one is ragier? All right, and next up from Tor, we have this trade paperback. It says it's a fast-paced adventure perfect for comic readers and fans of heroic fantasy. This is a book called Blood of an Exile. The author is Brian Naslund, and this is already out. Came out August the 6th. Okay. Goes like this. Bershad was supposed to die. When he was caught trying to assassinate a fellow noble, flawless Bershad was given a death sentence. Fight monsters so that he would die serving the kingdom. But Bershad can't die. He's never lost a fight, the most successful dragon slayer in history, but marked as a doomed man. Bershad stands apart from the world, but that is about to change. The man who sentenced Bershad to his fate has just given him an out. Kill a king and walk free forever. But Bershad could not care less about the fates of kings and kingdoms until, that is, he discovers he's the only person able to save an innocent child and possibly the life of every creature in Terra. Okay, all right then. Blood of an Exile, Brian Naslund, available now in trade paperback from Tor. And next we have The Magefire War from Tor Books. This is by L.E. Modesett Jr., and this is something like the 343rd volume of the Recluse series. So again, either you're into this series or you're not. It's set in a world in which magic is divided into order and chaos. And this one came out on, August the 12th. Again, okay, so this one has been out for a little bit of time. And this one continues the story of Beltur, which began in the Mongrel Mage and continued in Outcasts of Order. So I don't know if this is a trilogy within the series that you can sort of read on its own or what. But The Magefire War is available now in hardcover from Tor Books. Okay guys, we're getting close to the end of the pile, and this is a package from Simon & Schuster, so maybe some stuff from Saga Press, who knows? No, that's not what it is. This is the finished volume of Cursed. This is a collaboration between Frank Miller and Thomas Wheeler. A brilliant reimagining of Arthurian legend, Cursed is the origin story of the Lady of the Lake through the lens of 16-year-old Nimue. Okay? This comes out on October 1st. I'm holding it in my hands. I can tell you it is damn heavy. It's on very thick paper, and it is chock full of Frank Miller illustrations. So if you're a fan, you'll be very pleased with this. This visually stunning and altogether new take on the classic tale is a coming-of-age adventure that takes place in the Dark Ages and centers on Nimue, daughter of the Skyfolk clan's archdruid and of Fey kind. Nimue is blessed, or cursed, with a powerful connection to the hidden, invisible nature spirits. Over the course of her journey, Nimue will wield the Sword of Power and become the symbol of courage and rebellion against the terrifying Red Paladins and the corrupt King Uther. She will also befriend a young sellsword named Arthur, with no inkling of the role he will play in their shared arc of history. Arthurian enthusiasts will be pleased to encounter other fabled favorites, such as Merlin and Gawain. All right, then. So there we are. Cursed will be available October the 1st in hardcover from Simon & Schuster. And then at some point in the future, it's going to be a Netflix series, so there's that. Okay, back to Random Penguin. All right, then, this is an arc for a book called Novice Dragoneer by E.E. Knight. This was the first book in something called the Dragoneer Academy series. E.E. Knight is an author I have been familiar with for many, many years. Haven't really read any of his stuff, but he appears to write quite a few books about dragons. It says, fans of E.E. Knight have been eagerly awaiting his return to writing for years, and the wait is over. Novice Dragoneer, which will come out on November the 5th. The first book in the Dragoneer Academy series, from the author of the Age of Fire series and the Vampire Earth series. Okay, there's also that one. After meeting an inspiring female Dragoneer as a child, Eleth counts down the days until she turns 14 and can leave the orphanage she was raised in to join the apprentices of the Serpentine Academy. Though she's the opposite of many of her rich fellow students who come from important families, she nevertheless proves herself to be strong and scrappy. But the trials she faces at the academy are nothing compared to what she will face on her first expedition. Knight's immersive descriptions of the landscape, characters, and politics flesh out an intricate and captivating world. Age of Fire fans will recognize the same universe from that beloved series, but with all new characters, so it's perfect for anyone who has never read Knight's novels. There you go. This delightful classic coming-of-age story will charm fans of Naomi Novik's Temeraire series, and anyone who enjoys books about dragons, and is wonderfully reminiscent of the favorites we grew up with, like Anne McCaffrey's Dragon Riders of Pern books. Okay. So, Novice Dragoneer, November the 5th, from Ace Books. Okay, this next one is from Amazon Publishing. That's unusual. All right, this is one from 47 North, and it is a book called The Vine Witch. The author is Luann G. Smith, and this comes out October the 1st. It's a captivating historical fantasy set at the Chateau Renard, a vineyard that has depended on the talent of vine witches for centuries to help create the world-renowned wine of the Chanceau Valley. After breaking free of a curse that led the harvests to ruin, Elena Bourneau must contend with a handsome stranger who is now in possession of the vineyard she was destined to inherit. Vinerian Jean-Paul Martel naively favors science over superstition, and he doesn't endorse the locals' belief in witches. Elena can't ignore that the vineyard is now covered in a hex, and in order to stay on and help the Vinces recover, she's forced to hide her true identity and any plans for revenge against the evil powers that cursed her and still pose a threat. Okay, The Vine Witch is a gripping fantasy of betrayal, vengeance, and self-discovery set in turn-of-the-century France, and a debut from a talented new voice. Okay, then. The Vine Witch. The author is Luann G. Smith, and it comes out from 47 North on October the 1st. Okay, guys, we're down to the last two packages, getting close, and this one is in from HarperCollins. Okay, then. This is one I've had the ARC for a little while, and the finished copy is now in. This is sort of like a mainstream, but science-fictional, in a lot of ways, kind of high-tech thriller, kind of in the, in the Michael Crichton vein. The author is David Coep, who is a very well-known screenwriter, and it's called Cold Storage. And it goes like this. When Pentagon bioterror operative Roberto Diaz was sent to investigate a suspected biochemical attack, he found something far worse. A highly mutative organism capable of extinction-level destruction. He contained it and buried it in cold storage deep beneath a little-used military repository. Now, after decades of festering in a forgotten sub-basement, the specimen has found its way out and is on a lethal feeding frenzy. Only Diaz knows how to stop it. He races across the country to help two unwitting security guards, one an ex-con, the other a single mother. Over one harrowing night, the unlikely trio must figure out how to quarantine this horror again. All they have is luck, fearlessness, and a mordant sense of humor. Will that be enough to save all of humanity? Okay, I like the idea that the story takes place in a single night. That's interesting. All right. So this sounds like, if you like this kind of thriller, this sounds like it could be, a fun popcorn novel, right? But Cold Storage is available September the 3rd by David Coep. And finally, at last, you guys, we are down to the last package. It comes from HarperCollins. Okay, this one's going to be a little bit hard to make out. The cover is, looks kind of strange. You can't see it, but it's got all of this sort of like top secret classified text thing going on. Because what it is the Andromeda Evolution. And this is, I guess, an official sequel to Michael Crichton's The Andromeda Strain, classic from many years ago. And this has been written by Daniel H. Wilson, a Native American writer who has written the Robopocalypse series. The Andromeda Evolution, I'm actually, generally I tend to be skeptical of these, the author's dead, but let's continue his universe kind of books, but I like the sound of this one, mainly because the Andromeda Strain was sort of a formative work of science fiction for me when I was very, very young and like just getting into the series. I devoured that book. I'm a big fan of the movie, which came out like in the early 1970s and was like a super high-tech visual effects movie for its day. In fact, there's just been a brand new Blu-ray of it released with all kinds of extras on it that I got, and it's fantastic. Very different from the kind of science fiction movies that are made now. because it's actually a science fiction movie about scientists trying to solve a problem by doing science. So it's like a rare example of a hard SF movie, but it's also an exciting thriller, and the book is the same way. So we'll see what the Andromeda Evolution is all about. The Andromeda strain was about a probe that NASA probe that came back to Earth with a very, very deadly microorganism on board. And so it was like one of the very first of the, like we just saw with the cold storage, the Outbreak novel, right? It kind of was a foundational work in the Outbreak story subgenre, right? So the evolution is coming. In 1967, an extraterrestrial microbe came crashing down to Earth in Piedmont, Arizona, and nearly ended the human race. That's the original story, killing all but 2 of the town's residents. Over the course of 5 tense days, okay, so they're kind of recapping the Andromeda strain, a team of top scientists worked valiantly and secretly to stave off an epidemic of unimaginable proportions. In the ensuing decades, research on the microparticle continued even as the world believed it was safe. Now, a Brazilian terrain mapping drone, now we're into the news story, has detected a bizarre anomaly of otherworldly matter in the middle of the jungle, and the telltale chemical signature of the deadly microparticle. If a new generation of scientists cannot reach the quarantine zone, enter the anomaly, and stop its evolution, all life as humankind knows it will be annihilated. Wow, okay. Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited for this, admittedly because the original story means a lot to me. For the original story, you'd actually be just as well watching the movie as reading the book. The movie actually made some improvements on the book. It recast one of the 4 scientists, 5 scientists, as a woman, and gave it to an absolutely wonderful actress who just owned the role and who has one of my favorite roles as a female scientist in all of movies. She's awesome. Kate Reed, I think, is the actress's name. And again, it's just a very compellingly made movie for its day. So if you want to read this, watch that first. Probably a more satisfying experience than reading the original Crichton novel. Watch the movie, and then you can dive into this. But this is available November the 12th. And there we have it. Massive mailbag. After 2 weeks coming home from Worldcon, I hope you guys found something in it. To your liking, you know the drill. Light up those comments. Let me know which of these looks most interesting and exciting to you, which you would like to see me prioritize for review. Otherwise, if you enjoyed watching, slam that like button, share the video far and wide with all of your SFF reading friends, and above all, please subscribe if you have not done so. That is how the channel grows. You can also support the channel at my TeePublic store and at my Patreon, where recruits into Wink's Army, unless I'm sick, sometimes get to see early access to my videos, and I appreciate their support more than I can say. It really is helpful. Now, Space Opera September, coming up. We've already got more TBR videos that have been posted by some people. I will link those below. I suspect this week is going to be even more TBR videos being posted as we get closer to the 1st, which it's just another week, you guys. But I have loved seeing what everyone has posted in the Goodreads group. It's just so exciting and gratifying to see so many of you so excited for this readathon. Well over 200 people in the Goodreads group now. I'm watching, I'm reading all the TBRs, I'm reading all of your introduction posts. I will start posting again to the group just to let you know I haven't abandoned you. And we're going to get this going, okay? So, until I see all of you next time, happy reading.